The trees whispered before Vanessa realized she was lost. She had been hiking alone, following an old photograph she had found in a museum archive, a clearing bathed in golden sunrise, untouched by time. According to the records, no one knew where it had been taken. It shouldn't exist. Yet here she was. The towering trees loomed over her, silent and unmoving, their branches interwoven so thickly that only slivers of light pierced through. There was no wind, no rustling leaves, just an eerie, unnatural stillness. Then the whisper came. "We remember you." Vanessa froze. The voice was neither male nor female, not quite human, but it had spoken her name. She hadn't given it. She swallowed the lump in her throat. Maybe it was just the wind, her mind playing tricks on her. But as she walked deeper, the unsettling feeling grew stronger. Something about the trees felt wrong. Then she saw the carvings, names, hundreds of them. Some etched deep into the bark, others fading with time. They stretched as far as she could see. She ran her fingers over a few, tracing the jagged letters. Margaret Ellis, Daniel Thorne, Walter Greaves. Some names were so old they had been nearly swallowed by the bark, like the forest was consuming them. Then, at the very end, she saw it. Her own name. Her breath caught in her throat. That wasn't possible. She had never been here before. Her heart pounded as she reached out to touch the carving, and the forest whispered again. "Turn back." Vanessa spun around, but the path behind her was gone. The way she had come was now a solid wall of trees, trunks pressed so tightly together that not even light slipped between them. Panic coiled in her stomach. She turned again, trying to find another way out, but the trees had shifted. This isn't real. It can't be real. She pulled out her phone. No signal. The compass on her watch spun erratically. That's when she heard them. Footsteps. Not hers. Slow, measured, getting closer. She turned, and they emerged. A group of people, stepping silently between the trees. They were dressed in clothing from different centuries. A woman in a colonial gown, a man in a Victorian suit, a child in tattered Depression-era overalls. Their faces were pale, their eyes wide but vacant, like they had been wandering for centuries. And every single one of them had their names carved into the trees. One of them, an old man with hollow eyes, whispered, "Run!" Vanessa bolted. The trees blurred past her, their names flashing like ghosts. The forest was moving with her, rearranging itself as she ran. She turned left, only to slam into a tree that hadn't been there a second ago. She scrambled up, gasping, pushing forward. The whispers grew louder, overlapping, voices begging, warning, calling her name. Then, the footsteps stopped. She hesitated, heart hammering. Slowly, she turned back. They were all gone. But something else had taken their place. At the base of one of the trees stood a wooden sign, rotted and covered in moss. She hesitated, then stepped closer, brushing away the dirt. Her stomach dropped. It was an old missing persons notice, a yellowed, cracked sketch of a woman standing in this very clearing, a woman who looked just like her, and beneath the image, a line of text, "Vanessa Reeves, lost to the forest." Her legs nearly gave out, lost to the forest. But when? Her breath hitched, her vision swam. No, this was a trick. It had to be. And then, the forest whispered one last time. "You were always ours." Something shifted behind her. Slowly she turned, and the figures were back. Only now they were smiling. Vanessa opened her mouth to scream, but before she could, the trees swallowed her whole. The forest stood silent once more, waiting, remembering, until the next one came.